Hello, welcome to my studio again. Today we are going to be working on a different type of mosaic with Beth Sandberg. Beth, would you like to say a little bit?
Hello, I'm Beth Sandberg and I am here to do my mosaics. I'm a beginner and I am truly excited for the opportunity to work with Mary Ida. For me to have half of the skill set she has would be wonderful. So I'm very, very excited and really anxious to finish my mosaic and just to see what the end result is.
Hi, we're back in the studio and Beth is getting ready to do her mosaic. We'll be talking about that in a second. And Bea and Giselyn are working on the piece that we worked on yesterday. So it's been 24 hours and they're now checking to be sure that every piece of the mosaic is actually firmly grouted in the cement. And they're also doing minor cleanups, etc., so that we can then move on to the grout. So let's go check in with them. How's it going?
Well, we have found a few loose pieces. They're very tiny and they're going to have to be re-cemented in around this area. And we're checking every piece by touching it to see if it moves. See, there's a couple that move there. So, you know, it's
All right.
it's okay. We're going to fix it.
If this were an indoor piece, I would not be at all concerned. We would use something like Well Bond, and we would put the Well Bond on the piece, and it would stick. Well Bond is a water-based glue that over time gets harder and harder. So after about a week, it's really tough. The only downside to that is that it can be dissolved with water. So it's not an outdoor piece. And I'm hesitant to use other types of glue that might be able to go outdoors because of different expansions. I'm going to be blunt. We're going to take and re-mortar those little pieces.
Okay.
And that means that we're going to have to wait another day to actually put the grout down. Do not want to ruin a piece by doing a time frame, because those little pieces are really going to be important. I do not want it, you know, sometimes that's the safest way to go.
That's fine.
You've got too much work in here not to take care of it.
That's fine.
Okay.
I've got the time.
One of the things I would like you also to do is, after you've identified all the pieces, we'll make up a small batch, and I would like you to, this is a diamond file, and any place that it looks like it's going to be rough, or when you're doing anything, or it's going to be uncomfortable, this diamond file, you dip it in water and then just lightly brush it on that edge, and it gets rid of that. It doesn't take a lot of work, but it's an important thing so that some point in the future, if somebody touches it, there's no sharp edges.
Yeah, there are some.
Yeah, and it's sort of like some of these things didn't feel sharp when we were originally handling the individual piece, but when it's laid down, just because of slight angle differences, it does set up. Diamond files should be wet. Otherwise, what you do is you grind off the diamond dust, and it's sort of like it doesn't have to be soaking wet. You don't have to have a whole lot. And you find an edge that needs to be done, and just lightly do that. Now, this is a little piece of concrete there, but that's a piece, and it just comes off.
Okay.
And you clean the diamond things. It works pretty nicely, pretty easily,
Okay.
and will last a long time if you keep them wet.
Good. Good to know.
We'll check in with you later once we get everything done, and we'll be back. Yay! We're ready to start with Beth, but first I'd like to have, everything is driven by the design and then how it's going to be used. So Beth, what would tell us about your design? What inspired you for this?
I was inspired because I love mandalas. I believe mandalas provide peace and calm, and for me that's what I'm about, is peace and calm and positivity, quite frankly. So for me, the piece, I just saw the piece and thought it was beautiful, and knowing I could make it in a mosaic is just a wonderful thing.
Wow, you know, I've made mandalas as a project without knowing anything about that. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
I've read about mandalas, but I can't tell you exactly what they mean. But for me, they do mean the positivity, and they do mean calmness. So for me, that's why I wanted to do a mandala, was because of I always do want to feel that calm. And as I always say, I'm a child of the 60s and I believe in peace, love, and positive vibes. So, and to me, a mandala does provide that.
Well, part of that, because it's a very calm and I can see very symmetrical, even kind of a thing, it again, we were talking in terms of the design, driving what we do, and how we use it. And in most mosaics get really busy. And this is not, even though it's complex, it's not busy because it's such regular order. Everything is divided very, very specifically. And it's hard to do that kind of stuff directly with multiple little pieces. I would like to see using this with glass. And because you can cut glass to just about any shape. And that would give you that consistent, regular pattern that would be able to keep that sense of serenity that comes with the calmness being brought by order, right? And that's what it is. This is an example. We talked about making this original design, which it would be advanced glass cutting.
Very complex.
So what we're going to do is simplify it a bit, and we made this pattern it picks up the spirit, but makes it something that uses the grout lines as part of the design, and these white spaces, the blue is representing grout lines in the future, and the white spaces will be the glass that we'll be cutting. And what we did is, again, thinking in terms of the design drives what we do. This will be an indoor piece, is that right?
Correct.
And so that gives us a lot of options for use of substrate. It means that it's not going to be subjected to freeze and thaw or anything else. You could actually do this on wood. You could do this on, anything at all that doesn't have large expansions and contractions and is a stable surface. And you just have different kinds of ways to prep it. I think, and we do have things like featherboard, which is a styrofoam covered with thin set concrete, or concrete board. And I'm choosing, I would think, we could use concrete board for this. It's inexpensive, very durable, and it sticks like mad to anything. It's got a great surface. So any type of glue, we could use a glue or cement. I like to use cement because the grout will really stick to cement. And so for just, it's like, we've got it, let's use that. We could also just glue everything down with like well-bond glue and then put grout in. There are people who do that. But it's like I say, I know that this will stick better longer. So does that,
Sounds great.
Sounds like a plan.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is cut out the backing board. Okay? Let's go over here to do that.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people are more organized than me, but this is cement board.
Okay.
Okay, and with cement board, you need to have either a ceramic cutting tool, or what I'm going to use is this is a tile concrete board rotozip. So you make a hole, and this will take and cut this out.
Oh, okay.
All right, and you also could do that with a jigsaw. And if you didn't want to take and put money into that, you can buy a ceramic saw, and even those little hand saws, the little things that look like C's, put that little saw blade in and cut it out. This is not, it's not rocket science, not difficult.
Is it hard to cut?
No, we're going to take, this is a little bit tougher to cut than like the weedy board, the featherboard stuff that I was using. This is definitely harder than that, but it's so nice and thin.
Okay.
It's like, so I kind of like that.
Okay, good.
Especially because, what we're doing with using glass makes it all kind of works together.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay, safety first. We need to be sure that we are protecting ourselves with both eye protection and breathing. We'll be creating concrete dust when we do this cutting, and you do not want to be breathing concrete. So, Beth,
Thank you.
a face mask, N95, and safety glasses because things happen. So, even though we don't expect there to be any eye problems, if something did fly off or break off, we would be protected. All right? And, all right, this is starting, I start a hole with a drill. And then, this is a ceramic blade on this. This is a rotary zip tool, and I have a ceramic blade for that. You could do it with a jigsaw with a ceramic blade for, you know, or very, very rough blades and multiple rough blades. And, or you could even do it with a handsaw with a ceramic blade on that. So there's lots of different ways of cutting cement board. All right? I'm putting it into the hole that was created. Oh, and then put my glasses down. And there we go. Broke it. Oh man. We broke our rotozip tool and the blade because basically I had it down too far, so I adjusted this little guard piece to have shorter amount of the blade exposed. So we've been trying it out, it's working fine, and we'll continue doing this. All right, we'll continue cutting it out in just 3 seconds. All right. Get her in position again. Okay. All right. What we did here is we found the center of the circle, and it's a 14-inch circle. It's a little bit more, and we have marked that on here. We're now going to put the hanging system on it. With any mosaic project, again, the design and how you're going to use it drives a whole lot of engineering choices. And so we're going to be hanging this up inside. So we are going to use basic hangers. We're going to be putting 2 of these guys on. And we're going to be using stainless steel hardware, because stainless steel, the concrete is acidy and will cause problems with with regular metal over time. So stainless steel is your safest choice. So what I'm going to do is, what do you think we ought to have a hanger?
That's it. That looks good. Yep.
Okay, is that pretty much right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Let's measure it. I eyeball stuff, and it probably is close enough for, but if we have 30 here, that's too far right. We're going to do 2 and 2.
Yes.
Put 4 inches.
That sounds good.
And so, and we definitely want it here to
Yes.
hang at this point.
I think so.
Okay. So 2 inches, well, it's actually 1.25 inches. And 4 inches, 4 inches, 4.25 inches. There. Okay. So we can mark them, holes, top hole, and next to last. What do you do?
Oops.
Doesn't matter.
Sorry.
This is not real heavy. I just like the two of them. That way you've got distributed weight.
Okay.
And, you know, with a heavier mosaic, it's nice to distribute the weight over the whole board. And that happens when you have things tied up correctly. So what I'm doing next is making holes. So,
And you're drilling straight through the board.
I'm drilling straight through the board. And and the benefit of being in a barn is we can just take this dust, put it outside. I like orange.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is, you know, pretty thin. Now I want to put the concrete on this side.
Okay.
So we're going to put the hanging system will end up on this side.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I'm using stainless steel washers. And I'm pretty sure my 3/4 inch is too much. Let's see if I have half inch. Where's my half? Okay, and we're screwing this on. Screwing the screws, and they're tight. And we want them to be so that there's not a lot of excess room. And no wiggling is allowed. And we're going to be tightening them up on the other side too, so when we put them in, we're going to be locking it together. So these are stainless steel screws and stainless steel washers. Concrete's going to be on this side, so that's really important. All right. All right, so we're going to flip them on this side.
Okay.
And then we're going to put in our hangers. Yeah, that's right. And put in washers. Okay. And these are stainless steel lock nuts. So when they stop, then we have to, they'll stop and we've got to use pliers to hold them.
Okay.
And they'll lock it on there. These are actually browsers. I don't use them. They work fine. Okay. All right. Let's use, all right, so hold it on this side and with a, okay, you want to screw it?
Yes.
Yeah. Until it tightens up. Okay, now let's be careful. I want to see how tight. Yeah, wait for it. I just want to be able to be sure we don't over tighten it.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. Let's see how that is.
Getting
That
tight?
felt tight? Yes. And
Go ahead.
see, and once we've got one through, it kind of gauge the depth.
How's that?
Yeah, you can do one more turn. That's it. All right. So this is the hanging system, and when it's all finished, she should put little bumpers, like either felt bumpers, you know, just the sticky types, that'll keep it solid against the wall, and it also provides enough room because we'll put a wire here for the hanging hook, and it will, by having little bumpers, it keeps these away from the wall because those are, you know, little bolt areas, and it provides nice stability overall for the piece. So we're gonna put concrete and mosaic on this side, and our hanging system is in place. You can't do it after you've got the mosaic in it without destroying the piece. So this is the first thing you have to do before you start doing any of the rest of the artwork. We took film of Beth actually building the piece. It takes a lot of time, and we figured you didn't want to sit around the whole time while that was going on, so we're going to show a few quick reviews of her building the piece, and then we're going to come back and actually do a little more focus on how she did her cuts and how we planned it out. Okay? We're going to show you, and before Beth starts, I use a lot of glass, and I cut glass a lot. So I have a cutting system That's more than most people are going to want to invest in. What I did when I first started, though, was I created my own little straight cutting line. You can cut anything by hand without any other tool or assist, but life is a lot easier when you can measure things and cut straight lines and have angles that you know are solid, or 90-degree angles. So I used a cutting board and cut up, one of the carpenter's, the 4-foot long carpenter ruler that for wallboard, and actually just made my own. But it's like I say, I do a lot, so we have this, and so Beth was using this because it's super easy to use. Okay?
It makes it very handy, and Mary Ida had one of these tools, and I did not have one. I do now, because since being here, I saw how important this kind of a tool is. So, as well as she has other tools that I don't have yet, but I will get them. So part of my design, we have a lot of, I will call them triangles, and so for me, this is a pattern. I need to cut a triangle, multiple triangles. So for me, this is in fact about 2 inches. So with this cutting grid that I have, I can just simply go to a 2-inch, the 2-inch mark here, and this is a glass cutting tool, a handheld pistol grip one, which I did not have until just recently. It's very easy to use.
Sorry. We want to flip this over.
Okay.
Feel that thread?
Oh, yeah.
The reason we're going to flip this over is that it has, if you feel, you can actually feel it and see it. When there's this multiple glasses on a surface and your backside is real nice and shiny, it's easier cuts, cleaner cuts on the backside. What happens on this side, these other glass layers, not only are they different in thicknesses, which you can feel, they're also different in their density, and so they'll cut differently. So you won't have as clean a cut. It's not as guaranteed to be as clean as by cutting it on the solid, shiny side. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Thank you.
And it's easier to see.
Yes, correct. So you simply just push down, cut.
Did you hear that sound? That was the perfect sound. She's so good.
That is the sound of your glass cutting, and this particular tool has right in the middle of it a line, and what you do with that line is you line it up on your cut, go in as far as you can, line it up on your cut, and just simply press, and it is a clean cut. It has right in the middle of it a line, and what you do with that line is you line it up on your cut, go in as far as you can, line it up on your cut, and just simply press, and it is a clean cut. The next step would be for me to actually measure and then cut basically what I need as far as for the actual piece. And I can simply just do it this way. And it's my pattern, I'm using this pattern, so that's very helpful. And again, you put your line on where you cut your glass, squeeze, and it cuts. And the same thing over here. And there's my glass piece.
What we're doing next is we're going to do some molding or trimming on this piece. And what I'm doing is I've got a diamond file, and I just put water on it. And why don't you do this and demonstrate?
We have quite a bit of jagged edge on this side, so we're going to try to grind it in.
The trick with this is to actually keep it wet, and it does a good job.
Yes, it does. You don't need a lot of pressure, but it's definitely taking the jaggedness away.
One of the other things that you can do, and what we did here, is on this side, as it's laying in the pattern, you will see that she has created a light arc. Now, there was several ways that we did that. We tried cutting it with using a plate as a guide, and that worked pretty well.
Yes.
And we also did some grinding, which you can do with the salt. If you want it to make this in here, you can do it with the file, but it'll take a while. So we cheated. So I'm gonna show you, or Beth will show you what she did.
As Mary Ida had mentioned, some of my pieces, we actually have kind of an arc at the bottom. And this piece here has an arc, this piece here has an arc. So what we did was we used the grinder to actually grind in that arc. It would be time consuming to do it with this diamond blade, so that's why we used a electronical grinder for that. And this is the grinder. It's truly made the work that needed to be done a whole lot easier. So you just simply put your piece in and grind it down to where you needed it to be. And just simply by going back and forth in the designated area to make your arc. And as you can see, the piece is starting to get the arc into it by simply going back and forth on the blade, grinder blade. Very little pressure, but it is in there at this point. Okay, and we are now back at the piece, and again, this is the piece that had the arc, and so it simply matches and it has that arc that I'm looking for.
Okay, what we've done is we have a piece of paper that we have traced this on and have actually done the division of the squares on it so that we can place this directly over here to know what is up and what is down. It's really important since we have a hanging system installed. And we're going to practice we've also taken the mandala and placed markers and when this is on right now, it's on paper and the mesh, and it's easy to move around. And we've placed markers, so let's reposition this to be exactly right. Exactly where, so it'll line up. So we need this to line up, so because we had one shot at this. So Beth and I are going to practice moving the mesh to this concrete platform, or the concrete backer board, so that we have a practice run before we have wet concrete, which we won't be able to do. So right now we've got the pattern underneath, we've got the mesh on top, and the mesh, if can be stretched, so we have to be really, really careful how we do this. And this piece here, Beth had already designated that to be the top. Remember, we're going to have this free.
Correct.
Correct. We're basically, both of us
Both are
going
going to be in the same place.
and we both need to be standing
Okay.
on this one because that's going to be the bottom.
Okay.
We're going to let it drop in the center first.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And
In the center. Looks
Yeah.
good.
And so those green pieces, the green tapes need to line up. And the pieces all need to be on the board. Okay?
Looks good.
So we've done a practice run. And that's important because you only have one shot at this. So, and again, the reason we do the patterns is to be able to go back and forth and be able to do this kind of moving things around. So we know what we've got and everything will fit into place. Okay, so next we're going to create the mortar. We're going to mix the mortar, we're going to place it on here, and when we do that, we'll be on the clock moving. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right. Okay, we're filming. Okay, we're back. And real quick, one of the things that I wanted to talk about is that each of these pieces, the large pieces especially, Beth went through and sanded on the back of them lightly so that there is some texture, and we broke some of the glass, that surface shininess off of the back.
For better adhesion.
And this particular mortar that we're using is designed for glass, and we put an additive in there that will make it extremely sticky and very waterproof. So it's more than we normally need, but I'm really glad that we're doing it because nothing is going to mess with this once this is finished. It'll work. And it's stickier than standard mortar, so it will hold glass. It's formulated to do that. And Beth is going to be using this little trowel. We're going to be using the 1/4 inch size to actually smooth the mortar and have it out right. So we have mixed this up according to the package instructions, and it's sort of like peanut butter consistency or icing for the cooks out there. And remember, what we're trying to do is we need to keep this. One of the nice things, if we put a piece of tape underneath with that, so we have a registration where we know our top and bottom. I didn't think of that. That would be real helpful. And it's going to have to be underneath. I'm going to be putting stuff on the side, so it's got to be long enough and folded
Like
up.
that?
I'm sorry, I can't see that. No. Well, we need longer.
Okay.
No, I see. Turn it over. Yeah. Well, and while she's doing that, have it about 6 inches long. We're going to have 2 under there, and take the other 4 inches and fold over 2 inches so that you've got covered 2 inches.
Just like that? Like that?
I'm sorry, I can't see it. Like this. Let me do it real quick.
Okay.
Over backwards. And under here, so that we have
I see.
the center of that. We know where that is. The center needs to go on here. And I'm sorry, we should have done that earlier, but we didn't, and that's okay, because we're doing it now. Thank you. Okay, and if we do them on there, we've got to register totally with this. And put a black mark on it to show where that is. It didn't stay. That one is not wanting to stay. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. All right. Now, yeah, let's start spreading that.
Okay.
Would you like me to give you a quick demo on that?
Just
Start moving around.
okay.
And, we need to cover all the way to the edges.
Okay.
And you can see we've got lots extra, so,
Okay.
just sort of thin it
So
out.
thin it out, bring it out. Okay. And don't worry if I get it on the edge.
Don't worry about that, because
Okay.
we're going to actually put it on the edge
Okay.
before we're through. I'm just going to, the idea is to get it all nice and spread out, sort of even, and not too thick. And that's what you're doing, is you're thinning it out so it isn't too thick. You definitely need it on the edges too. So I'm using the big spatula.
Okay.
And if you start picking up where it's excess, we'll just wipe it off in here.
Okay.
We put her back. And doing a great job. And I'm going to take a little tool and go around the edge to be sure we have our edges covered. Not that it needs it, but since we're doing it. It'll be a consistency when we put the grout on, so everything is a consistent color and texture.
From down here.
Yeah. But now you see what we did on the bottom because. Alright. And we can touch up also after we've done some transfer. I think these people should get those out of here because those will squish up. How are we doing there?
Okay, so
Yeah. Push it out. Yeah, good. Good. Good.
I'm gonna go back around.
We're gonna pick at the whole thing up and put it on a gray surface after we've laid this stuff out. So everything will be nice and neat. We have a lot of excess. Yay. It's all right.
Okay.
Let's get rid of some of these. And then go over. I'm not sure. 'Cause some of this is so fluffy. It's like air bubbles. Let's get this. I have to back over. I'm not sure if there's a technical reason that they have these grooves in there or not. But
Right. Okay.
It
So what do you
works.
think?
I think that looks like it's about done.
Great.
So I'm gonna do one more wipe around here.
Okay.
And it's looking good. Anything? Does it look good to you?
Oh, looks good to me.
All right, then let's move this over here out of our way. Ready? Let's position this back. Let's get our tapes lined up. And it goes down just a hair. Just a hair. The reason we did that,
And I pulled that one off, so that was
that's
not-
okay, this, we have 3 of them.
Which is
It's
wonderful.
what works. It works. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is, we've got a little bit of baby powder over here, just in case I have anything on the glove. I'm going to use baby powder to be sure that we don't have anything on our hands that's going to stick to the glass.
Okay.
All right. Let me put this down here. Are we ready for this?
We are ready for this.
All right.
I know I am.
All right. Now let's, again, we're going to be here and here.
Yes.
This is the center.
Yes.
And the center goes down first.
Okay.
And,
And I have it.
okay,
So
how are we doing? Look, is that line
it
side
looks
line?
pretty good.
Okay, let's do
Okay,
the center.
ready?
The
Ready.
center is laying in, looking good.
Looks good. Looks good.
Looks good.
It looks really good. Thank you.
Yes. Yes,
That's great. Okay.
Okay, now, what
Now,
we're gonna do is we're gonna go through and we're gonna press these little suckers down.
every single one?
Every single one.
Okay. Including the
The
orange?
tinies, yes.
Okay.
Including the tinies.
Okay.
And again, that's one of the reasons why keep tabs on your fingers. If you
Okay.
pick up anything, change your gloves, or if it's something not in the way, put
Okay.
powder on them.
So for instance, I just got a little bit of grout.
Well, a little bit we're gonna be
We're
able to
okay?
get that later.
All
Yeah,
right.
but in fact, if you've got it on your gloves, it's the
Yes.
problem.
Okay.
And it's like, and it's very easy to, I'm gonna actually put a little pool of powder here.
Okay.
So that we've got it on our fingertips as we're pressing these guys down. Right now, lost count, if you left, done, if you left, haven't. Good. And you.
And then my hands have gotten a little bit wet, so it's hard to get the glove on.
Yeah, and that's where I love powder. It's like, it's hard to get powdered gloves anymore because apparently people are allergic to it.
Correct, that is correct.
So we've done these guys. These guys are really good. Now I'm starting here, there, and there.
So, and when you're pushing on the piece, do you push on the entire piece or do you
Flat.
push on just the center?
Well, I'm pushing on the center and pushing the whole piece down. So
Okay.
the whole piece does need to go in there
Okay.
so that you know that it's squished in there and it's got good contact with the glue.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, have
Got
you
it
done
away.
the oranges?
I have not done all the oranges.
Well, I
started
will
with-
do as
Okay.
soon as you're through there.
Now I see on this piece here, I did get some.
We're gonna come back later.
Come back later, so,
Yeah.
okay.
But see, that is, try to minimize it.
Sure.
But wait until it's, we're going to be able to get any of the minor amounts of grout off once it's dry.
Okay.
Or, yeah, mortar, grout stain type thing.
Okay.
But, you know, if it's a big chunk, or if a big chunk of mortar is anywhere that's not quite right. Did you do these over here?
I didn't started doing some of them, but I don't remember exactly where I
I'll
stopped.
do them again. All right. Yeah, those look like they're done over there.
Yes.
Okay.
And then-
Did you do, have you done all of these things?
Yes, I did
started
all the
there.
big ones. Yes.
Okay.
So
I'm
now
gonna
it's just the,
I'm doing the reds, I started
Okay.
there. Every piece needs to be down. And it was a real challenge on Bee's project because there's so many pieces, and her pieces were not all of them were flat.
Right.
So that made it more of a challenge to just, so you
get
started
these.
there?
Yes, and I
And you
see
start-
this one came out a little bit.
Yep, that's
So
good,
is that
perfect.
Okay.
That's good, exactly right to do.
Okay.
Okay,
great.
now let's do the stones, the yellows.
Okay.
Now these are really important because now on these particular little glass pieces,
Mm-hmm.
they're actually painted on the surface. So it's really important that we keep these guys clean. You can put powder on them, but this is something that if you get grout or mortar on them,
Right.
if we don't get it off while it's wet, it could actually take the paint off with it.
Oh, I see.
So it is important.
Okay.
Okay.
And so that's it. I think we
Okay.
got them all. Yeah.
We got them all. Now, next step I'm going to do is I'm going to raise it up and put something under it to hold it. And what I'm thinking, I'm looking around, and this may be the thing to do. Take there,
Okay.
just put her under.
Okay.
Okay, and so now we've got it up here. So now it's up so we can actually look at these sides. Okay, we're at a stopping point. Everything is now set in the mortar and we're going to wait. One of the nice things about this is that this is a white mortar and glass is translucent. Even though we're using opaque glass, it does reflect through there. And I don't know if it shows on camera, but it's visible here. If you have glass against a dark background, it actually does make it darker. So you get the brightness and the translucence, and she has some clear pieces. Those red pieces and the center blue are clear. So you see through it, and the light goes through the glass and reflects off the white and bounces back to the eye. And that is one of the magic things about glass. So this is a great mortar, and I'm just really, really pleased with what you've done, Beth.
Thank you very much. I am pleased too, and just totally thank you for your guidance. So.
All right, we're at a point where we wait for another 24 hours, and then we can put on the grout. We'll be back.
Great. Thank you.